Alright guys, I'm here outside of Powell, Wyoming, at the Heart Mountain Relocation Center. It was during World War II in the 1940s. The American government, it was kind of controversial, but when the Japanese attacked us and we went to war with them, they rounded up Japanese people living in the United States and put them into these camps. And so wasn't a good thing. My grandpa, I grew up in Los Angeles, and so did my dad, and so did my grandpa. My grandpa remembers going down. He was a teenager. He was about to be drafted into World War II, but when they started rounding up all their Japanese friends and putting them to send them by train to these camps and stuff, they used to take things down to their friends at the camps or at the holding centers before they shipped them out. And they felt really bad because they had so many friends that were part of their communities that were Japanese Americans, and they were being rounded up like prisoners. And anyway, it's kind of a sad thing, but these camps they've created historical places out of them so that we remember that time and hopefully never do anything like that again. Hopefully, we'll see. But I'll show you some of the cool things here and the things that we have to learn and see. So the camp was up on the hill primarily, and they said at the time it was the third largest city in Wyoming, just based on the number of people and everything they had here. So there were a significant amount of Japanese people here that they brought in. Here's an old picture of it, the camp, how much barracks housing they had. And they've made this visitor center from the outside look like the barracks housing from back in the day. So kind of interesting. I'll take you up there and show you some things. This is kind of a memorial. They had barbed wire around it. They were treated basically like prisoners of war. But these are symbolic of actually people who were brought here, or they were actual people who were brought here. So it looks like somebody came and visited family that had been here at some point. So anyway, I'm going to take you through the visitor center and just kind of show you a few things and let you read some of the boards. I won't be able to do all of it, but we'll see.
But I am an American citizen. Why are they treating us like criminals?
What happened? I don't understand.
Attention heartbound guests, the film All
I
in
don't want to
Care
go.
is going to begin momentarily in the Ford Foundation Theater. So if you've not yet seen the film, please make your way toward the theater at this time. Thank you.
I'm going to go watch that film and then I'll come back and take you to some more things. So that film they showed us was pretty cool. It was 14 minutes long, and it showed kind of a documentary of this camp and the situation the people were in. It's pretty sad. It actually kind of made me tear up because I don't really like racism. I grew up in Los Angeles, and I had tons of friends who were Mexican or black or Asian, and I don't like racism. So it was a cool video. I encourage you to come and watch that 14-minute video. It was pretty powerful. And all these exhibits are pretty cool. I'll show you pieces of them and some things you can read. Press pause when I film a section, and then you can press pause again when I move to another one. So I think they have a model of the barracks, and I'll show you that now.
One day, on a Sunday, two FBI men came. One, I guess my mother was inside. One stood outside the door and one went inside. And I guess he rummaged around the house looking for anything that made my father look like an enemy spy or whatever. Well, back on December 7th, my mother put away a Japanese thing, and she left out a portrait of Abraham Lincoln. So anyway, on this Sunday, when the two FBI men came, my father was not home, and so one man looked around inside the house, couldn't find anything, so before they left, they told us to have my father report to the police station. And so when my father came home, he went to the police station, and then they took him to this Tahunga internment camp in nearby Pasadena.
What changed was when they put up these posters on telephone poles saying that by a certain date, everyone in this district have to move out and assemble at the local YMCA on a certain date with just what you could carry. And that's what happened. Oh, there were arranging. So most of the things that we had, like tables and chairs, we just gave them away because peddlers would come by and say, "You have anything you want us to carry away?" So go take it. And then we started from in the local church, the Buddhist and turned out that the things in the Reformed Church of Bethel, I'm like, some things were missing.
Oh, sorry.
So these barracks, there were 460 of them or so, and they crowded into them, and they just tried to live life the best they could as families. 80,000 of the 120,000 Japanese were American citizens, so they're just like you and me, and they're just ripped out of their homes and businesses, and for 3 years stuck in these prison camps just because a nation that had Japanese heritage attacked us. And so the decision to do it was not a good one, and everybody agrees. President Reagan in the 1980s issued a formal apology and offered money to each person who'd been through the camps that was still alive, and so it's a pretty bad thing. But they said in the video that because 80,000 of the 120,000 Japanese that were put in these camps were American citizens, they could be drafted into World War II, which is kind of ironic. And so out of this Heart Mountain camp, 800 served in World War II fighting for America while their families were imprisoned in these camps during the war. And so it's kind of weird, kind of sad. But anyway, take you outside and show you some of the buildings. So I was telling you in the other video that there were about 460 of these barrack buildings, and the families lost their businesses and homes, and then they had to make do in these little tiny things crowded with people, and you lost a lot of privacy and all your nice things, and so it was just like living as a prisoner of war. It's kind of sad. So the film they showed us in there was really cool. They told us all kinds of details. It's about 14 minutes long. I recommend you come and watch it. It's really awesome. It made me tear up because I don't like racism. I grew up in Los Angeles with tons of friends of different nationalities and backgrounds and races, and I don't understand racism. But it was a bad time for the Japanese people, and hopefully we never do that again. I'm going to take you up and show you some buildings up there. Some cool things that were up there. So here's some of the original buildings up here, up on top, that have remained, and we'll go check them out. Looks like someone put up roof tiles, asphalt tiles, probably in the years, well, for sure in the years since the camp, because I think all the structures up here were wood. They were probably used for something for a long time before they set them aside as historical places. I think they said that's the chimney from the hospital there, or something like that. I'll video more when we get over there. So that's Heart Mountain out in the distance, and this is where that camp was, with hundreds and hundreds of those barracks. And at the time, the third largest city in Wyoming, 10 or 11,000 people here at a time, and 14,000 total came through the camps from mostly coastal cities in California and Washington primarily. And they had a tough time adjusting to the hot desert climate and the really cold winters. The cold winters was the hard thing. But, I think I read down there that like 600 babies were born during those 3 years here, and there were doctors and dentists and teachers and business people amongst all the Japanese that were brought here, and so they kind of created their own little economy and culture and business practices and medical facilities. The government helped too, but they took care of their own too. So thanks for coming on this field trip. Come visit this anytime outside of Powell, Wyoming.